Cormac Devlin and welcome, Minister. Thank you very much for taking the questions. With just 35 days left to go before the United Kingdom leaves the European Union, may I ask the Minister his department's preparations in advance of this? Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy.
Deputy Devlin, for raising this very important matter, and my department has been participating in whole-of-government preparations for Brexit since the referendum in the United Kingdom in 2016, and in line with the government's overall approach, has intensified work ahead of the transition period on the 31st of December. Without prejudicing the outcome of ongoing negotiations between the EU and the UK, the central scenario underlying Budget 2021 assumes the transition period ends without agreement. Budget 2021 provided €340 million for measures to prepare for Brexit through the continuation of existing measures and new supports for sectors and enterprises likely to be most affected. This comes on top of over €700 million in budget since 2017, and Budget 2021 also provides for a recovery fund in part to respond to the fallout from the ending of the transition period. And I can assure Deputy Devlin that every effort has been put in to getting ready for this approaching point. And since the morning of the referendum result in 2016, it has justifiably absorbed a huge amount of my time and that of the department. Just to give him some more detail that may be of interest to him, revenue have now written to 90,000 businesses that traded in goods in the UK last year, and they have now phoned 14,000 of those businesses that were identified as having more than €50,000 in activity with the UK. In October, they hosted seminars with 2,000 businesses in that month alone. And very soon, the Revenue Commissioner is now going to be launching a campaign that is focused on the changes that are due on day one, which will be the 1st of January 2021.
Minister, for that response, and I have no doubt that this has been extremely time-consuming for you and the officials, not only in your own department but across government for the last number of years. But that said, the Budget 2021, it's prudent that we would have that reserve there on account of potentially a no-Brexit deal, and that's the right course of action. However, the department itself, I know you're making every effort possible to deal with the challenges of Brexit, but the next few months are going to be extremely difficult for Ireland and indeed the businesses, not only because of Brexit, obviously because of COVID as well. And the Minister, are you aware of this morning's report in the Irish Times, which claimed that Ireland could lose out to France, who want to lay claim to the €5 billion Brexit compensation fund? Not even if we were to get all of this fund, it would not compensate to the hit to our economy. As the Department of Finance and the ESRI analysis has stated in the past, the long-run impact to GDP, it's expected to drop between 2.6 to 5% in a no Brexit deal scenario, or losses between €9 to €17 billion in 2017 prices. You might comment on that, please, Minister. Thank you.
I will, Deputy Devlin, and thanks again for raising what is a very important matter. I can assure Deputy Devlin that the Department of the Taoiseach, and all of us in government will be working and are working in an integrated and very careful way to ensure that we are able to access our fair share and indeed a good share of the Brexit Adjustment Reserve Fund that Deputy Devlin is referring to. I'm now well familiar with these kind of negotiations and the claims and counterclaims that can arise in relation to them. And I can assure Deputy Devlin that the effort and diplomacy that we have demonstrated over the last number of years in pursuing our issues with regard to Brexit will continue as we approach the negotiations in relation to the Brexit Adjustment Reserve Fund. And the nature of that fund and its use, of course, will become clearer when we are clearer on the shape of Brexit.
Thank you, Minister. Deputy.
Thank you for that, Minister, and I welcome your remarks and that diplomatic approach to it. It is important that Ireland, of course, would avail as much as possible, considering the grave impact that Brexit could have on our economy, that we avail as much as possible of that compensation fund. Also, just from your earlier remarks in relation to the work of revenue and your engagement, which I very much welcome with businesses, obviously we can see from the COVID support schemes, there are a lot of businesses not availing, unfortunately, of the supports that are there. And it is important that we ensure that they are prepared for Brexit and that they are also availing of the supports that are available to them. But just in my last few minutes, just the implementation period that Britain has given to their economy, a 6-month deferral of Brexit custom declaration until June 30th, 2021. Would something similar of an adaptation period here be considered by the Minister and his officials in the department? Thank you, Lascan Corla.
Devlin, again, the matters in relation to customs policy and customs procedures are ones that will be dealt with at a central level by the European Union. We will have requirements that we will need to uphold as the United Kingdom formally becomes a third country. So the EU, I know, will try to ensure that the rollout and the introduction of new customs procedures is done in a way that is proportionate and doesn't affect and reduces the adverse effect on those businesses that are trading from the European Union. But on the other hand, Deputy Devlin, the EU and Ireland also need to ensure that the single market is protected and the integrity of the single market is protected. And that is an Irish interest. It's in the long-term interests of Irish businesses and Irish consumers that happens. And Deputy Devlin, the Revenue Commissioner and the Government, we will do all we can to raise awareness of the schemes that have been there, to ask businesses to participate in them and to roll out the new customs procedures and policies that will be needed in as effective a manner as possible. Because what will come will be better if we get an agreement than no agreement, but that agreement will be very different to the United Kingdom remaining within the European Union.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you.